Hello students, I am Ekta. Students, today we are going to learn about decimals. Decimals are special numbers that help us show our parts of a whole. You see decimals in everyday life, like when you buy snacks or look at prices. For example, if a toy costs rupees 10.99, the 0.99 tell us that it is just under rupees 11. Decimals also help us measure things. When you measure your height, you might say you are 1.5 meters tall. The 0.5 shows that you are halfway to 2 meters. Understanding decimals help us compare sizes, prices, and even scores in games. In this lesson, we will learn how to read, write, and do math with decimals. We will practice adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. Let's get started and discover how useful decimals can be. Learning outcomes. After the completion of this lesson, you will be able to know, understand what decimals are and where we see them in daily life. Read and write decimal numbers correctly using simple methods. Learn how to add and subtract decimals numbers easily. Multiply and divide decimals using clear steps for better understanding. Keywords from this lesson are decimals, decimal point, place value, whole numbers, tenths, hundredths, multiplication, division. Children, do you know what are decimals? Decimals are a set of numbers written together with a dot and between them that is called a decimal point. The numbers to the left of the decimal point are the integers or whole numbers, and the numbers to the right of the decimal point are called decimal numbers. It is very important to understand place value while dealing with comparing decimals, operations on decimals, etc. This is how the place value chart of our decimal numbers looks like. In the case of decimals, for the whole number part, the place value system is the same as the whole number. But after the decimal point, there is a different world of numbers going on in which we use decimal fractions to represent the value. When we are going towards the left, each place is 10 times greater than the previous place digit. So, to the right of one's place, we have tenths 1 by 10. and to the right of tenths, we have hundreds, 1 by 100 and so on. Let us look at some examples for more clarity. Reading decimal numbers. There are two ways to read a decimal number. The first way is to simply read the whole number followed by point, then to read the digits in fractional parts separately. It is a more casual way to read decimals. For example, we read 34.56 as 34.56. Look at one more example given below. The second way is to read the whole number part followed by and then to read the fractional part in the same way as we read whole numbers but followed by the place value of the last digit. For example, we read 34.56 as 34 and 56 hundredths. Visualizing decimal numbers. We can represent decimal numbers using base 10 blocks, flats, rods, and blocks. A flat represents one whole unit, a rod 1/10 of the whole, and a block 1/100th of the whole. So, if we want to visualize the number 24.69, it means we have 24 whole units that we can further represent in the form of 2 cubes and 4 flats, 6 rods represent tenths, and 9 blocks represent hundredths. Another way of representing decimal numbers is on the abacus. Now, let us see the multiplication of decimal numbers. How to multiply a decimal number with a whole number? If we have to multiply the whole number with a decimal number, then we will multiply them as normal numbers. But the decimal place will remain the same as it was in the original decimal number. Example: 35 into 3.45 is equal to 120.75. Here we have multiplied the number 35 with 345 as normal whole numbers, and we put the decimal at the same place from the right as it was in 3.45. How to multiply decimal numbers by 10, 100 and 1000? If we have to multiply our decimal number by 10, then we will transfer the decimal point to the right by one place. Example: 5.37 into 10 is equal to 53.7. If we have to multiply a decimal number by 100, then we will transfer the decimal point to the right by two places. Example: 5.37 into 100. Is equal to 537. If we have to multiply a decimal number by 1000, then we will transfer the decimal point to the right by three places. Example: 5.37 into 1000. Is equal to 5370. How to multiply a decimal number by another decimal number? To multiply a decimal number with another decimal number, we have to multiply them as the normal whole numbers, then put the decimal at such place so that the number of decimal place in the product is equal to the sum of the decimal places as the given decimal numbers. Example: 3.77 into 2.8 is equal to 3.77 2 decimal places into 2.8 1 decimal places. 3016 plus 754 is equal to 10.556 3 decimal places. Student, next let us see the division of decimal numbers. How to divide a decimal number with a whole number? If we have to divide the whole number with a decimal number, then we will divide them as whole numbers, but the decimal place will remain the same as it was in the original decimal number. Example: 12.96 divided 4. Is equal to 3.24. Here we divide the number 1296 with 4 as normal whole numbers, and we put the decimal at the same place from the right as it was in 12.96. To divide a decimal number by another decimal number. To divide a decimal number with another decimal number. First, we have to convert the denominator as the whole number by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by 10, 100, etc. Now we can divide them as we had done before.
3, 2, 1.
Example: 83.48 divided by 2.4. Here we had converted denominator 2.4 in the whole number by multiplying by 10, then divide it as usual. (83.48) divided by 2.4 into 10 by 10 is equal to 834.8 by 24 is equal to 34.75. Points to remember. Decimals have a decimal point that separates whole numbers from fractional parts, like 5.75. The first digit after the decimal represents tenths, the second represents hundredths, and so on. Multiply decimals by moving the decimal point right for 10, 100 or 1000 left for division. When multiplying two decimals, add the total number of decimal places for the final product. Reading decimals can be done by saying point or using and for clarity.